As an actor, you spend a lot of time reading great material and crafting compelling performances. So why wouldn't you be able to write one yourself? Actors writing short films or scenes for themselves is becoming very popular, and it is a great way to show off your strengths or present yourself in a way that maybe you don't usually get cast. But there are a few mistakes that I see actors making over and over again when it comes to writing their own material. So, mistakes actors make when writing their own material. Let's jump right in. Hi, and welcome back to Impulsive Content, your indie production company for all things film and theater in New York City. My name is Franca, and I am an actor turned filmmaker. So my journey behind the camera actually started with wanting better footage for myself. Best believe that I made these mistakes, all of them. And while making mistakes is very important and part of the process, maybe you can avoid some of these common ones. All right, first on our list, story is more important than dialogue. While great dialogue enhances the script, it should always be in service of the story. Now, I understand the urge of giving yourself really great lines to say, or you think it would be really compelling and therefore it has to be great for the film, but you really have to make sure that your narrative remains the focal point, not the words that you're saying. You really want to engage your audience in a compelling story, not a monologue. It's not a monologue competition. You're going to lose your audience's attention if you prioritize what your character says over what they do. Up next, keep big emotions brief. Again, this might seem a little bit counterintuitive. You want to showcase all of your great acting skills. But if you're going for a really powerful emotional moment, just keep it brief. Prolonged film scenes that are really emotionally intense might make an audience really uncomfortable. And again, like the way to draw your audience in film is by story, not by crazy displays of emotion. I'm definitely not saying keep emotions out of it, but just make sure that you strike a balance. Specific story beats. All right, now here's a key point to remember. Just because something is a big deal in your life does not mean that it makes for a compelling story. A breakup, for example, can be a huge deal in a person's life, but it doesn't necessarily translate into a gripping narrative. Keep in mind that specific story beats will always triumph over a vague comment on a generally known condition like heartbreak. Try to craft some narratives that resonate with people through specificity. For example, listen to these two film ideas and just think for yourself which one is more compelling. On the one hand, we have man loses his girlfriend because he didn't treat her right and is heartbroken. And on the other hand, we have a guy goes on an all-Cinnabon diet to cure his heartbreak, and chaos ensues when he attempts to break a world record. You kind of hear it, no? Keep in mind that every little bit of the human experience has essentially been talked about, written about, made a movie of, so you want to keep it interesting. I'm not saying you have to go and do some wacky crap just for the sake of it. You just want to be specific. Avoid self-indulgence. This one's a little tricky because you have to be honest with yourself. And obviously, if you're making material to be made into a short film or into a scene that is all about your acting, then it's very easy to be self-indulgent because it is for yourself at the end of the day. And naturally, you want to show off your skills. However, audiences can sense when you're prioritizing showing off over the integrity of the character or the story. So stay true to the narrative and ensure that your writing serves the story rather than becoming a showcase for your abilities. Yeah, maybe check to see if that monologue that you wrote for yourself really needs to be that long. Visual impact. Last but definitely not least, keep in mind that film, much more than theater, is a visual medium. A picture says more than 1,000 words. Definitely, that still holds true. and most especially in film. An interesting character in a unique location wearing an interesting piece of wardrobe is always going to be more enticing than a wordy monologue in a boring apartment on a couch. And if your budget doesn't stretch that far, don't worry. There are plenty of locations that cost nothing or next to nothing that aren't just your living room. Let me know if you're interested in us making a separate video on that. Overall, just make sure that you capture your audience's attention by giving them something interesting to look at. So there you have it, common mistakes that actors make when writing their own material. Let me know in the comments below if this was helpful for you, if I forgot anything. Keep these tips in mind, and I'm sure you're well on your way to crafting enticing and memorable narratives. Don't forget to subscribe for more insight into the filmmaking world. And until then, break legs out there.